Well, here we are. Just Doug and Karen just bringing another report. We had an exciting um, response to
News.
our news, or
News,
our notice of news last week. I think we've had close to getting on towards 40,000 views,
Mm-hmm.
which, considering we've been out of the limelight for a while, that's pretty exciting. And the responses have been amazing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, just the positivity of people and
I think
pastors.
they've all been positive, very, very positive, apart from one person that was just being a jerk.
Yeah, there was
That
one
doesn't know us, so.
one person needs to get saved on there somewhere. But anyway, I was gracious to him and said, God bless you for sharing the love of Jesus. But everyone else has been really positive. A lot of locals excited that are in the area. And a lot of people, even in distance, that are saying, wow, it's only 40 minutes away, or it's only 2 hours away, or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always had a ministry where people have traveled
Yeah.
to be at the meetings, because God turns up in the meetings. And, as I always say, a church alive is worth the drive.
Worth the drive. Yeah.
So we just want to get onto it a little bit. We took a fair while to get on to showing you some photos and the excitement we have in the building. We just finished all the due diligence with the deposits down, the contracts on the go.
Yep, everything's signed and ready to go.
So we're going to move in the 30th of June. So the 1st of July will be in the new DSMI Center. So just a little reminder, that's just a small part of the big building.
That's actually the front door. They will be taking the bell tower and everything up the top to go to their new building, so that won't be there.
No, they're taking the bell, not the bell tower.
Oh, not taking the tower?
No, just the bell.
Oh, just the bell. Okay.
So we might put a bell up there one day just for the fun of it. But as far as I know, the tower remains the same. And I quite like the idea of the cross. It's not a very religious building, but it's a good building that is so well maintained. It's not like a baby. It's been there for quite a lot of years, as the locals would know, and it's had extensions on it many times over the years. So we're just going to show you some of the extension of the building. And so again, just looking from the front of the building of 7th Street or 7th Avenue.
7th Street.
It's got this sort of almost like a terrarium kind of foyer where they've got plants and things, and it goes into the entrance foyer, which then enters into the main building.
I'm sure they'll take their plants with them.
Yeah, we couldn't talk them into. They're going to leave the grass and the flowers out the front, but they've been very good. And so that's just an overview. I showed that briefly last week, and it's 5 acres. So that's not the whole 5 acres possibly, but it comes right up onto Rum River Drive, right up in front of us here. And then it's got 140, 150 car spaces. And you can park on 7th Street. And we've got the Pizza Hut just to the left, which obviously on the weekends, late at night, maybe more parking, I'm not sure. But we're excited about the possibilities. Only 3 months ago, I got a lot of work to do, a lot of assets to sell in the next 3 months. But we've got a contract
a lot to do.
That's going to be, we're going to fulfill it. It's going to be good. And as I said before, there's a back view. You can see the extent.
That's sort of the view that you see when you come in off Rum River Drive into the parking area. That's the view that you see. It's quite a long building. It's actually, the auditorium is sort of shaped a bit like a cross, but it's an incredible building for its age. It doesn't look as old as what it is. It's quite modern looking for its age, which is awesome. And it definitely doesn't look like what your typical Catholic church would be.
It's all very strong construction, foundations, full brick.
It's been very well looked after, and the Catholic Church has really, really looked after it well. It's very clean. It's very tidy. Everything's in order. Everything works properly. There's nothing that we need to replace. They really have done a great job of looking after it. And looking from the back up to the front altar area. The only thing that's going to change there, apart from the furniture that's on the stage, which they're taking obviously with them, is the stained glass windows. They actually have taken the stained glass windows and replaced them because they wanted to have those in their new building, which is fair enough. So it's just clear glass there at the moment, but we'll actually be putting up a LED screen up the back for our words and presentations and everything else that we'll do in the building. So it won't matter as much that those windows aren't the stained glass anymore, because they would be covered anyway. So works out good.
In that photo where we're looking from there, we're only halfway through the distance of that hall. So that's the front pews that do extend to the left and the right. But then there are pews behind us. It's about 130, 40 feet right to the back, which I'll show you shortly. But it's a beautiful building. Downstairs we have the full cafe, which those...
It's a commercial kitchen back there.
Beautiful commercial kitchen.
And unfortunately, they will be taking, understandably though, all of their tables and chairs. So we will have to buy all new tables and chairs. At some stage, we're probably going to do a little fundraiser and see if people can help us out a little bit, because we're buying this building, and there'll be a lot of things like this type of stuff that we need to actually purchase. And at this point, it's Doug and I. It's just the ministry. We don't have a church there. We don't have a bunch of people. So if you think, just have a little bit of a think about that. And in the future, we might be asking for a little bit of help for some of those things.
More for the fit out,
it's not for buying it. It's just for, obviously the church is taking like tables and chairs and different things like that to put in their own building, which is absolutely understandable. So we'll need to buy all new stuff, which is going to be nice to be able to have that. That's our kitchen area. As I said, there's a commercial kitchen back there. There's a great area for serving, both of those big long benches across there, which will be great for dinners and like if we do like smorgasbord type things. Also have the option to be able to do weddings and that down in this great area. We would probably cover that area up so that it's not sort of obvious. If you're having a wedding, you don't particularly want to see the kitchen when you're having a wedding or something, but great facility to have all of that there. I think there's commercial, like there's ovens and everything.
Massive too. If you've got a lot of volunteers that want to help serve and whatever, you're not going to be cramped.
On top of each other.
And it's got the big automatic dishwasher and the big 8-burner stove and ovens and big freezers and fridges. So we're pretty excited about that, because the DSMI Center that we're in for years, the cafe, was a very big part of the ministry. And so we're looking forward to this being where you can come early and have a meal, or come late and get something to eat after the meeting. A lot of fellowship takes place, even though we have some of those eating places. Most places don't seem to stay open late anymore. Even Perkins, that we used to live in for years.
I mean, I think the churches that we've had in the past, some of the best times were had even after the service in the cafe area, where people would just fellowship and get to know each other and spend time together and just like eat a meal together, just hang out. And especially for a lot of the single folk that didn't have a partner or something to go home to, they spent hours just fellowshipping together. Sometimes someone would pull out a guitar and start singing, and they'd have worship times, they'd pray for each other. And it's just going to be a great place to hang out and have some good Christian fellowship.
People actually loved each other. They actually, from all different churches. And often in these days, I understand it, church is quicker. People are in and out within an hour or so. And we're kind of old school, where we think, it's worth hanging out with each other. And so there's not only the ministry where Jesus touched people's lives, but there's also the time before.
The time of fellowship.
I can remember times when I'd eventually go and say, we need to go home. And then I'd go up in the office to finish some things, and there'd be people out in the car park just hanging out and praying and singing together. And so I love it.
It's going to be a great atmosphere and a great place of fellowship.
So this is the back of the building. Just gives you an idea of the size. And it's 2 stories, full basement all the way through. And there is a manse on the place, but this basement is where the school has been operating. So we'll show you briefly some of those classrooms, but that's got all the potential for Bible school and all kinds of things. We might have a daycare or something later, but a lot of potential there. Beautiful building, all new roof on it, which is a biggie for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because that'd be a very expensive thing to have to do.
And as you can see with that photo, as I said before, it doesn't look like your typical Catholic church. It's very modern looking. It's sort of nicely laid out, and it's just a great building.
And that wasn't meaning to be critical of the Catholic Church,
no,
but
not at all.
Just because of our style of ministry, and that's fairly conventional. I've always built buildings that are sort of multi-purpose buildings for obvious reasons. But this is just a beautifully architect-built church, and
solid.
We just feel blessed. We love it. Hope you get to be with us and share with it. Again, that's from a little further back behind the first lot of pews. Now, I want to show you to the left and the right here, if possible.
And by the way, we are keeping the pews because the Catholic Church have agreed to leave them there, which is actually wonderful for us, because otherwise we would be having to turn around and buy all new chairs, which is just another expense on top of us having to actually buy this building. So the fact that they're actually leaving these pews there is wonderful, and we will probably take a few of the first ones out just so we've got a bigger altar area. But after having different churches and having to move all the chairs around and put them back after everyone's moved them, we're actually pretty excited to feel like we don't have to move chairs and line chairs up and do all that.
Well,
so
these days, to buy the nice padded individual chairs are like $50 or $60, $70 each.
Mm-hmm.
Buy hundreds of them.
Yeah.
You know, by the time we believe God for all the money to completely pay off the building, which we'll do within 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is because I've got to sell assets to do that. But, you know, just to not have to buy chairs, and there's a full speaker system in there, which we'll probably upgrade later as we can afford it.
Definitely will upgrade that.
But basically, we'll just bring our soundboard in and hook it up to the speakers, the JBL speakers that are timed all through the building at the moment, which I think will be adequate. So we can virtually come in without any renovations and have a meeting very quickly, and we're looking forward to that. I've had to rebuild from the ground up or renovate buildings for so many times. This one's going to be easy, and really excited about it. This is a photo looking to the right.
That's standing on the stage, looking actually to where the entrance. No, actually, that's not the entrance. That is the side. You can actually get in. There's multiple entrances.
That is the entrance. That's the foyer out.
Multiple entrances into this building, which is quite interesting. But this is probably the main one.
So if you can imagine the T piece, each side of the stage, this is from the congregation size to the right. You can see the little alcove there where they have some of their icons and statues and things, which of course they're taking to the new church. But we'll utilize all those spaces, and just through those doors on each side is the foyer. But the seating goes to the right and to the left. So if you look that one, then we go this way.
That's the other side. And actually, when the church was originally built, it was originally built sort of with that wall there being the front of the church. And so there was a little stage just at the front there. And on the left-hand side, if you can see the black, that's actually a grand piano. And so they had their musicians, mind you, they had like a grand piano and probably like a guitar or something like that. And then the choir, there's a little choir loft up there as well. So that's what they had there. And the church actually went that direction. But then they built onto it and built the cross member, which was a lot longer. And so that's why that little stage area is there at the moment. But we'll be putting chairs up there, and we will have our band actually up on the stage at the front. So,
yeah, so those that were in our Blaine revival, it's not unlike, at least the feel of the Blaine church, where we seated about 600 people, I think. And I think it will seat very similar to that. But it's amazing. We'll probably take out the first 2 or 3 rows of pews because of our need for a big altar area. But that's the only renovation we'll make in the short run.
It's pretty easy.
And so this is looking back. So
from standing on the stage, looking to the back of the building.
Yeah, so we're looking back.
And that little room at the back, there's actually little, what do you call them? Like divider. What do you call them? Like
a concertina.
Yeah, like a little concertina door that comes across on either side and closes that area off. But that area will be a great area for overflow, or if we wanted to have a different area for prayer or for whatever. And sometimes we might have that open and other times we won't. So, but it's nice to actually have it there.
Yeah, it just gives a lot of overflow room. And of course, we've got all downstairs, but behind those back wall they're places to put extra chairs and things, is a chapel. So behind that wall, again, I don't know whether I've got the right ones here. I guess not. But that just shows you the 2 stories.
Yep.
And the very solid concrete and brick construction. And you can imagine coming out of the cafe even into the nice fellowship area through the nice part of the year. We have tables and chairs, and there's plenty of room on the 5 acres for open air meetings or whatever. This is the chapel.
That's the chapel, yeah.
So that's
very pretty.
Probably 100-seat chapel at the back there. Again, the stained glass has actually been removed. We just have sanded glass windows there. But that's a great little place. It'd be a great place for small meetings.
Or even a small wedding, or Bible study, or just whatever. Yeah, just a small chapel area.
Maybe prayer meetings.
Yeah.
During the week or whatever. But
I'm sure they've probably taken those chairs out too, have they?
Yeah, I think those chairs will be gone. This was the senior pastor's office, so I'm claiming that. And it's a great office. I think some of the furnishings will be left behind, but we'll find out when we get the building. So I'm looking forward to having a home base where I can do Bible school and, just all the things of online, writing my books. By the way, I need to mention it, those that haven't got a copy of my last book, Good Dad, Bad Dad, and it covers a whole lot of areas. It's not just about good and bad dads. It's about the absentee father. It's about lots of things in there that I think are very helpful to any man.
Show it again here. Let me hold it.
And
you talk.
So it's available on Amazon now. It's a lot cheaper than my last book on It's Only Theory Until You Do It. Thank you for all those that appreciated my first book.
Pass me it.
These all proceeds help us buy the church. So buy up the books. I'm just about to complete my 3rd book, which is Understanding the Wound of Rejection. And that, again, is covering a whole lot of ground from experience. And so get the books on Amazon. They're also available on Kindle for even a lesser price. I think it's $9 on Kindle.
We can probably put the links to those up on Amazon, I think, at least.
But if you go to Amazon, it's just Doug Stanton, and there's only 2 of us, as far as I know, that are authors.
Just put the name of the
just
book.
put
It's
the
only
name,
theory
or if you
until
look
do
for
it.
books by Doug Stanton.
But there is another Doug Stanton that's written books. So.
Yeah, he's an author, but he's not as well known as me. No, I think it's the other way around. But so anyway, get excited about this building. A few more photos here just quickly. There's so much building. There's 34,000 square feet of building. And what do we got here? The chapel.
Main office.
Doug's new office. And then that's another view. See the concertina doors, even at the back of that big space?
Kitchen dining area.
Yeah, so there's rooms off rooms everywhere, and there's concertina doors, so we can divide them up. You can see the rails all around the roof there, where if you had a small wedding or something and you didn't want a great big kitchen area, you can divide it off. So if you're going to
divide the room into many different areas, like a whole lot of small classrooms, or just leave it open like that, a big room, or put it down the middle, or whatever. It's amazing actually what you can do with it.
So if you've got a wedding coming up, or you know someone that wants to have a nice wedding, we would like to at least have a chance of doing that wedding for you. I'm going to even break my rules and maybe even offer to do weddings for some people, because I've mainly done it for my own children or people who are kind of family to us one way or the other. But the only thing I'd say, I need to know who you are and that it's going to be a God wedding. But otherwise, you can bring your pastor in and he can marry them in our facility. And we'd love to facilitate that right through to getting your hairs done, to hairs, yeah, hair, you know. We've got people in our family, and everyone can do everything from flowers to food. So anyway, think about that. That's just going to be one of the outreaches from the centre. I think this is one of the garages on the place. That's mainly for the tractors and snow moving gear and lawnmowers and so forth. But what a blessing to have a great garage there.
Little outbuildings like that.
And then we have another one here, which is a 3-car garage, or maybe 2-car with a workshop. So that allows us again to put either vehicles or equipment that we're using. Behind that shed is a place where they've had set up to have outdoor meetings. So we're pretty excited about doing outdoor meetings in the summer. And this is just a quick look.
That's one of the little classrooms downstairs. At the moment, there's a Montessori school that is meeting in the bottom of the building. We have 8 different classrooms. That's about the size of them. You can put it back up. Yeah, put a few of the photos up. This is another one of them. Great size rooms. But the Montessori school will be moving out into a different facility, which they've been planning to do for a while apparently. So these will be left open for us to have, like, whether it's children's ministry areas. I mean, there's so many areas. There's
maybe
just so
day
many
school, daycare,
or like Bible college rooms. There's just it's endless what we can use them for. So, but just show a few more of those.
All in beautiful repair. Notice that there's a concertina wall and there's a room the same size. So for every one you're looking at, there's another one adjoining it. So there's at least 8 or more classrooms that size. They're about 17 feet, I think 17 by 22 or 21 feet. So they're decent size rooms, which again, they're beautifully maintained. And
have you got a few more? Yep, there's
another one there with obviously older students, probably with bigger desks, and just great. And there's about 8 of those.
And obviously they'll be taking all of their equipment and school stuff with them as well. So we will have to fit those out as well.
This is Karen's office.
That's the administrative office, just in the sort of front area of the church.
So there's about 8 or 9 offices throughout the building.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of room for staff as we build it. My heart is to develop our staff again with this building. That's bit of the
just
foyer.
Outside the
administrative office.
The administrative offices, and there's actually a lift there.
Yeah, there is a lift.
That white door is actually a lift.
Yeah, to get downstairs.
So
all very, very beautiful, very well maintained, and just a blessing. So there's our new church. They've got some beautiful, big, mature trees around it. I'm sure we're not too far away from the flowers budding and the leaves budding up there. So we're praying that it warms up before we get initiated back into Minnesota in June.
Yeah.
And
so
what do you think? Let us know what
one?
you're thinking. Hope you're excited about it. Didn't want to take too long. Again, that's off 7th Street or 7th Avenue. You can see the size of the building is big, and it's just beautiful. We're going to have some great times there, some Holy Ghost meetings where lives are transformed and changed. So, we're excited about it, and we're excited that many of you are excited about. Many of the locals have been telling us about how it feels like an answer to prayer. So who knows what we're going to end up doing there, but most of us that have been involved in our meetings over the years, where we did 6 or 7 nights a week, mostly 7 nights a week for all those years, and Karen had music teams from all over the cities that volunteered their time night after night.
Yeah, we will be looking for that again. I like to work with a lot of musicians that I already know. I do know quite a few musicians and singers over the Twin Cities, but we might at one stage do some auditions for musicians. I don't just let anybody jump up and play music and sing. I actually want to know that you're gifted to do that, because not everyone is. And it's not the place where, like, any mother jumps their kids into a competition and says, oh, yes, she's a good singer and she can't sing for nuts. So that's not going to be what's happening here. We want to know that you're called by God and that you're gifted with those things to be able to minister music to people. It's not just about a show. So I will definitely be building multiple teams. I don't want to have to rely on the same people all the time, because it's a lot for people. People are just busy these days. People have a lot on with their families and with their work, and some people would have to obviously travel as well up to Princeton, which is a little ways for some people. So we'll be just looking. I'm praying right now already for God to send the people that are meant to be there, and that have that are called to come and minister with us.
We've already had quite a few from our past, from different eras, different revivals, letting us know that they're on board to help in any way. And in terms of musicians and catering and all those things, feel free to let us know if you want to help in some way. As Karen said, we're going to be careful to build a good, solid team. We don't want to have pastoral problems with people.
Yeah.
So we're going to...
I don't want any divas. No divas.
We're going to rely on our relationships and our discernment to build a good, solid team that hopefully...
that know how to worship, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
To me, the team I'm building up are people that really do know how to worship. They're not just up there to sing some songs. They're up there to lead by example. They have their own worship time at home, that they're just worshipers and they know how to worship God so that they can lead others to the same place. And
my heart also, more so than in the years of revival, to spend more time training and equipping younger men and women to not only lead worship, as Karen was sharing, but also to preach the gospel. We'll do outreaches. We'll still travel as we're able to, and take teams to different parts of the country. But I'm not sure whether we'll do the truck and trailer thing somewhere in the future, but that's on hold now because of this project. And I want to not be the only person preaching. So we're not only going to train younger ones to step up into the pulpit that have got something from God, But also we've got lots of relationships with pastors and ministers all over the country and the world.
And the world, yeah.
That would love to bring in and just do 2 or 3 days with special ministries. I believe that's a big part of the fivefold ministry, where you bring in the apostle, the pastor, the teacher, the evangelist, and they bring
cross-pollinate.
Yeah, they bring in a balance,
a different feel and a different anointing and a different word, and so that the body gets a little bit of everything.
Yeah, there's a balance there. I mean, I've had the privilege of carrying meetings for months and months in a place night after night, and I guess the years of experience allowed me to do that. But not just because of my age, but because I realise, another 10 years, then I'm not going to be as active as I am today.
Yes, you will.
Well, I probably will be, but I want to feel like this next 10 or 15 years, until Jesus comes back, which could be any time, that I want to help release others into different aspects of ministry. That's what my Bible school is about online. You can check that out online, and the books and everything I do and we do from now on is going to be not just our ministry and how that impacts people from our ministry, but to release your ministry, to find your calling, and not that we're going to have facilities to help everyone have a ministry in our church, but you'll be
to go to where you're called to go to.
Yeah, in your own local church.
Doesn't particularly mean every single person will jump up in the pulpit and preach, because that's not.
Yeah, we stressed it last week that we're not a church.
Yeah,
we're all church, but we're not going to be a Sunday church.
A Sunday morning church.
A Sunday morning church. We'd just be every other night. No, at least 3 or 4 nights a week.
We might initially start off like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. I mean, even our opening sort of night, we might do even just a Saturday night, because we want people to be able to be there. And quite often Friday is hard for folk after they've finished work and they can't always get there. Saturday night's usually one that's free. And Sunday, I mean, some churches have church on Sunday, but not that many anymore. So
Sunday night.
Sunday night, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it's always been a mystery to me. I love Sunday nights, and because most churches, there might be some in your local area that still have a Sunday night service.
Yeah.
But the majority of churches do Sunday morning, sometimes 2 or 3 services on a Sunday morning, but then they don't do Sunday night. So we are there for other nights when people aren't meeting. We may not even do a Wednesday night unless it's a conference or something, so that we're not pulling people off there, which is another church night as a general rule. So we're not there to be competition for the local churches. We are a body of Christ ministry, and we want to help encourage people who are committed to other churches to be more efficient, to be more equipped if possible. And that's always been what we've done. And I've always had a lot of feedback from local pastors who, they might not have understood us when we first came to town, but they eventually realized that our heart was to build the body of Christ, not to just build Doug Stanton Ministries. And so we're excited.
It just happens that that's our base, that's all. That's our Doug Stanton Ministries base. Yeah. That's right.
And our kids will be involved. Shana, as I mentioned last week, is a worship pastor in one of the local churches in Elk River. And she's doing fantastic with a new husband and kiddies. But when they're not committed at their church, I know they will help us here in some way. We certainly want our grandkids to be more involved in our meetings. And we're coming up to be not only ministers in the area, but we want to minister to our own family.
And Crystal and Daniel will
be involved. And
their kids where possible.
That excites me, because we're 1,000 miles from our kids and grandkids who, through circumstances, aren't going to move closer to us. So as parents and as grandparents, we have been holding this lightly before the Lord, and against all odds of Karen wanting to go back into the snow and the ice.
I still don't want to, but...
But she loves her kids and her grandkids more than she doesn't like your snowy weather.
That's right.
So
God set up some things for me so that I don't have to deal with it too much. So that's good.
Yeah. So we're excited. It's amazing what's come together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we appreciate your prayers. I noticed a few people have been sending some love offerings through, and even though we're believing to not try to manipulate or ask people to pay for the building, of course, any help is appreciated.
Especially because we will have to get a little bit of, as I said before, tables and chairs for downstairs in that cafe area. There are going to be some setup for sound and stuff like that, because the way the church was set up before, it wasn't really set up to have a band in there. So we are going to have to do some things with sound, and also with our screen for the back wall as well. So
yeah, we're going to...
If you can help in any way, we sure would appreciate it.
Yeah, the LED screen to go right across the back of the stage there, it's not going to be a cheap item. And we'll probably blank out to some degree the light that comes through there, just because of it doesn't always work in your favor when you're filming and so forth. Mm-hmm. So, we're excited for all that we're doing, and, we just appreciate the love and support that we've had over the years. Minnesota's been very good to Karen and I. And, we've always been careful to invest our kingdom money, our ministry money, back into the kingdom. Yeah. And I feel like I've sown my family and our whole lives into everything we've done. And part of this season is to invest back into my own kids, my own grandkids, and just be there, just be available. And maybe this will be their legacy in the future. Yeah. I sometimes wondered, as I got older and I passed that 70 mark, like, when I had my own buildings and a ministry center, my kids could have embraced that, and the ministry continues. So I can't manipulate that. I can't make that happen, but I'm going to allow the provision for the Stanton ministry to continue after Karen and Dougie John have kind of hit the grey hairs and slowing down a little bit. I don't know that I ever will. Which won't be anytime
soon.
No. Yeah. I feel as fit as a fiddle, as my dad say, as fit as a trout, and sometimes as fit as two. And my dad was in his 90s when he went to be with Jesus. Mum was in her mid-90s when she eventually went to be with Jesus. They're both fit as a fiddle for their age. There were no medicines, no medication. And Mr. Ha-Ha or Maha or whatever his name was, the new Minister for Health, would have been excited about them, because they ate just good food, real food, and no chemicals and rubbish. And I think that was a big part of their health. So we're going to feed good food in our cafe before and after. And
well, we'll see. We've got to find all the people that are going to help us with that. We're not personally going to do that.
Oh, yeah, I can cook water and
can boil water and make some
baked beans,
ramen noodles or something.
Yeah, no, we can.
Not.
I'm sure that God's going to provide the right people.
God will provide. We're trusting God and praying about all of it now. So join us in praying for all of those things, everything that, and all the people that we need to run the different parts of what we're going to have there. We just pray that God sends them. So that's about it, I think, for tonight, isn't it?
I think so. It has a reputation of having fish fries. So, we never know what we might do with all those kitchen facilities. But that's all we wanted to say. Again, we've done about 35 minutes or something. And we just wanted to catch base with you. Thank you for all those that have watched what we've done in the past, and we're just excited with what God's about to do. So get excited with us. And the new ministry center in Minnesota is on the go. So God bless you. Bye for now, and catch our little intro on our ministry, because Doug and Karen are in the